Hi, it's Edie here. I help stressed out people own their lives through encouraging them, walking with them, teaching them how to develop healthy, strong habits in their life. The practices day-to-day living that make us stronger and better, more joyful, more vibrant, more lively. We've been talking about the 4 keys to creating a new habit in our lives. So we've been talking about the power of habits. I'll remind you again, the 4 keys are you've got to remind yourself everywhere. You've got to make it fun. It's got to be pleasurable to do. You've got to make it very small, very doable, so that you are without excuse, because we are fabulous excuse makers. And then the 4th is you've got to celebrate. You've got to pay attention to what you're doing and how it's helping you and how amazing and wonderful you are. Now, when we talk about picking something that's small and doable, it's going to be 5 minutes or fewer, and it's going to be something really tiny. But one of the keys when we're reminding ourselves and choosing when we're going to do this, because if we schedule it in, it's more likely to happen. If it's not a routine yet, we've got to schedule it in. And so we connect it to something else that we already do. I'll tell you the story of one of my first habits. My first venture into this realm of habit building was I wanted to learn to meditate. And so I chose 5 minutes of silence a day. And so I reminded myself on my bathroom mirror, I put it on my coffee pot, put it on my command chair. I put a sheet of paper on my command chair. The command chair is where I sit and run the world. And so I reminded myself. But one of the things that I did was I tagged it to that coffee. I tagged it to the coffee. I told myself in the beginning that I wasn't going to have my first cup of coffee until after I had my 5 minutes of silence. And I tried that for a while. It was probably 3 or 4 days. It wasn't very long before I realized that it felt like I was being punished. Having to wait for my coffee made me feel like I was beating myself up. So I thought about it, and since it's my program, I can change it if I want. And what I decided was that I would go ahead and make my coffee and pour that cup of coffee. And when I sat down for my silent time, I would breathe the smell of coffee in. Just breathe. Just smell it. Because I believe that the smell of freshly brewed coffee is evidence of a benign universe, a God who loves us so much, because we didn't have to have the olfactory glands to appreciate it. It doesn't have to smell so heavenly. Even people who don't like coffee will like the smell of it brewing. And so that was how I tagged it. Now you might come up with something different. It might be that you want to exercise, and so you make a plan that before you eat breakfast, you'll have your exercise shoes on. Or as soon as you eat breakfast, you have your exercise shoes put on before you get up from the table. Something like that. Something that you're going to do this every day. You're just going to tag something onto it, just a little bit extra. This does a couple of things. One is it makes it more likely that we will do it because it's part of our schedule. And it makes it more likely that it'll stick as a routine because it's connected to something else that we already do. But another thing it does is it circumvents that part of our brain, that amygdala that wants to keep us safe, wants to keep us from changing. It kind of circumvents that. It kind of sneaks past it and doesn't alarm it as so much, because you're just adding a little bit to something that you already do. You're not changing the world. You're just shifting a little. And it is very relaxing for the amygdala to just gently accept that this is a tiny change. This is no big deal. Because we need to go with our amazing brain. We've got to acknowledge that the way we approach life, the way we think about it, is really phenomenal. You know, that desire for our brain to keep us safe is the one that keeps us able to jump back when we're crossing a street and somebody comes around the corner too fast, or keeps us able to run away, or we jump at just the right moment. That part of the brain that's keeping us safe keeps us safe in situations that really are dangerous. And so we've got to honor that. We've got to recognize that our brain's not out to get us. It's not out to keep us exactly the same. It just wants us to be safe. And so to respect that impulse, to respect that innate desire for safety, and still defeat it when it's to our purpose, when it's our conscious purpose. Because we have the ability as humans to think and to shape our reactions, to overcome our instincts, to work with our instincts and help them be for us instead of against us. So one of the things that people talk about, neuroscientists talk about, is this fight or flight reaction that keeps us so safe when we're truly in danger gets activated by things that aren't really dangerous to us. And so we end up having it overactive. So it's really important to recognize that this instinct that was created to keep us safe and keep us healthy can work against us because of our modern life and the way that our way of being has changed over the centuries. You know, it wasn't but maybe 200 or 300 years ago that we really needed that amygdala to kick in because the world seemed like it was a more dangerous place. Although with traffic the way it is, I'm not sure it was more dangerous with Cougars than it is with Buicks, but that's a different story. So we tag it to something else to make it more likely that we can get it done and to defeat that natural response that keeps us safe, that keeps us the same. The homeostasis that protects us can also harm us. So thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing, amazing day. I appreciate you.